Yeah, the Colts are definitely one of the teams you could put in this category. There are a lot to choose from. You got the Seahawks. Even the Panthers, I think, have exceeded some people's expectations. They're in a running for a playoff spot. But I agree with Stoney. I'm going to take the Patriots. Vrabel's first season, I know he's done it before, but his first season with a second-year quarterback doing this well in that division, they're leading that division ahead of the Super Bowl, one of the Super Bowl favorites in the Buffalo Bills. Vrabel maybe winning the Coach of the Year at the end of the season, and Drake may win the MVP. All right, Seahawks at the Rams. Does the winner take the division?
No, they play again in 4 weeks. They both have relatively tough schedules the rest of the way. But I think it's too early to make that statement with them tied. Great showdown.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about this. And I go back to, in these questions, or maybe it was bold-ass predictions. I said 3 teams from the NFC West would make the playoffs. I like that prediction, how it stands today. These 2 teams have been impressive, but they still have another game on the schedule.
I thought there was a shot Arizona would get into before the season started, but that was a bad, bold-ass prediction. I agree with Doug because they do play each other, and they both, I know the Lions, the Rams have to play the Lions. Seattle's been unbelievable. I don't know. When push comes to shove, I will go with Stafford over Darnold.
I would agree.
So, does the winner take this division? Yes, if the Seahawks win. Because the Rams' schedule looks a little bit more difficult than the Seahawks the rest of the year, but it could very well come down to that matchup. And that game could be one of the biggest games of the year. And we think this game coming up is big, but that one could be even bigger for the division. But right now, if the Seahawks win, they take definitely the lead in the driver's seat, and I think they'll eventually pull it out. All right, another big game this week. Chiefs at Broncos. But is this a must-win for the Chiefs?
I think it is. I mean, yeah, they could get on a roll even if they lose, but Denver, their defense is so good, I don't see them losing very many games. Now, their offense has been kind of shaky at times. Bo Nix has had some ups and his downs, and they've come up with some miraculous victories. But if they go this far ahead of the Chiefs are in trouble.
Yeah, this is a must-win for what? A must-win for the division? Yes. If they lose it 3.5 games behind with 7 to go, they're in deep caca. But if they're trying to make the playoffs, no, it's not a must-win. The worst they'll be is a game out. Although they don't hold the tiebreaker over Jacksonville, so it might be essentially 2 games out if they lose and Jacksonville wins. But as far as the division is concerned, it is must-win. For the playoffs, it's not.
All right, for the sake of the question, I'm going to say it is a must-win, but I do think they're going to win for the record. With that being said, the AFC, the division's going to be tough. The playoffs, they could still get in, of course, Doug, like you said, but it's really, really murky. There's a lot of teams in the AFC with similar records, and the Chiefs, they definitely don't look like the Chiefs of past. You know, Travis Kelce, ever since he got engaged, guys, doesn't look the same. I don't know, man. Mahomes, he's always going to be Mahomes, but he needs those weapons around him. They don't have a run game right now. I know they got Rice just coming back, so we'll see, but I do think they'll win. Because they always find a way. They've been there. They've done that. You always go back to Mahomes. He's calm, cool, collected with Andy Reid. Those guys know exactly what to do when the time gets tough, and I think they'll pull it out this weekend. All right, who will be the next head coach of the New York Football Giants?
Okay, so I think they're going to go big here, and I think they're going to try and rattle cages and steal the headlines from the Jets. I think they're going John Gruden, next head coach of the New York Giants. It'll certainly put them back on the front page or the back page or whatever the hell they do in New York. Feels like a New York state of mind kind of move to me. John Gruden, head coach, New York Giants.
Well, if you're going to go that far, you might as well go Belichick as far as steal the new. But I'm not going that far. I think they want to find somebody who can really work with Dart. And the hottest coordinator out there is in Seattle, right? Clint Kubiak. So I think maybe they go there.
Stoney, we're on the same path as far as you got to find someone to work with Jackson Dart. I totally agree with that. We just have different coaches. I'm going with the offensive coordinator in Washington, Cliff Kingsbury. I think he's good with young quarterbacks. Jackson Dart is the absolute key to the franchise right now, whether they turn it around or not. You got to hand it over to a guy who's going to take, he's going to have his handprints all over that. And he's good at calling plays. I don't know if he's going to be a good head coach necessarily, but that's what the league is about now. They take the offensive coordinator and they let him call plays to be the head coach to keep the quarterback. Because otherwise, if he stays coordinator, you end up losing him to another team anyways. But I got Cliff Kingsbury, next coach of the Giants. All right, Travis Hunter's season is officially over after season-ending knee surgery, guys. When Hunter returns in 2026, should the Jags continue to play him on both sides of the ball?
Yeah, because I don't think his injuries has anything to do with it. I don't think it should be a 50-50 split. I personally think he should be primarily a wide receiver and then play DB when they need him to.
I thought it was a bad idea to begin with. And regardless of whether this injury has anything to do with it, I'm sticking with it. I don't think you can keep this up in the National Football League. It's hard enough to survive a season playing half the snaps. So, yeah, I don't think he should play both ways. I think probably receiver, I agree with Stoney, but at the end of the day, I think they need to stop this.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they should do that either. But this is what they drafted him for, so stand on what you drafted him for, and have some conviction. So, yeah, when he does come back, you continue to do what you were trying to do, which is play him on both sides of the ball almost equally, because I think they're up in those snaps and those reps as the season went along. I don't think the injury had anything to do with that either, but it's something you got to keep in mind that, football is a physical sport. Guys are getting injured all the time. I think he should have focused solely on receiver, like you guys mentioned, but they traded up to get him for all this, so now you need to stick with it. All right, Rob Gronkowski signed a one-day contract to retire as a New England Patriot this week. A reporter asked him about a possible statue outside the stadium, like Tom Brady has. Gronk joked and said, no, Brady's one of a kind. But seriously, guys, should the Patriots actually consider building a statue of Gronk as well? So
organizations, when you're deep into the culture of an organization, you know what's important to the fans, what's been important, behind the scenes. And so as an outsider, it's hard for me to look at this, but I looked something, this blew my mind. Gronk has more all-pro selections than Tom Brady. He was an all-pro selection 4 times. Brady was only 3 times.
Wow.
That blew my mind. But for me, the criteria would be centered around being you would have to be, to get a statue, a central figure in a glorious era. And even with that as the background for this, that Gronk was all-pro more than Brady, he wasn't the central figure. Brady was a central figure. And in fact, it would be a Belichick statue, right? I mean,
yes, I would say Belichick ahead of Gronkowski. But he wasn't the central figure, but he was a central figure. And I think that's very important. And, yeah, I have these weird things. Like, first of all, the whole one-day contract just pisses me off more than – and it pisses me off more than it should.
Maybe it's just me.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Maybe it's just me.
This one could be. Yeah. It's like, I know, the first
2-minute timeout yesterday. Yeah. Maybe it's just me. And today, one-day contracts. Maybe it's just you.
Who cares? You're retired. Who cares what you retire as? It doesn't. Why do they care? I don't know. Anyway, they want to put a statue up. That's fine.
Okay, I think most people's first reaction is no. But I got to tell you, I don't want to treat this like jersey retirements or anything. But, Doug, you just mentioned the all-pro stuff. To me, in my opinion, Gronkowski is the greatest tight end of all time. So I don't think it's over the top to actually put a statue of the greatest tight end of all time. By the way, who meant so much to your team and those Super Bowl wins. He was Tom Brady's favorite target. Stoney, you just said it. He wasn't just an important player. He was a focal player on that team. This is not like putting up a statue of Edelman or any of the other
right
players, like an offensive lineman or whoever. No, this is Rob Gronkowski. Now, I'm not saying they need to do it right away or anything like that, but I don't think it's a crazy idea. I think that actually it will be done one day.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was that good of a tight end. Guys, I got a bonus question if you want. This just
Let's
came across the wire.
Sure.
All right. I didn't know this till this morning, but Russell Wilson apparently has joined Cameo. You guys are familiar with Cameo.
I know.
He is charging $333 for a Cameo. All right. Not expensive at all, just right, or too expensive? What do you think?
I think for a guy who's won a Super Bowl, and I charge $25.
Actually, it's $33. Kenny Koch just looked it up. Do you even know your own prices?
You charge $33?
Did I? Yeah, I think I raised it once or something. I don't know.
I charge $25.
Oh.
Okay. That's probably why I don't get very many.
$333 for Russell Wilson.
That's a pretty good deal.
Seems like a good deal to me. Yeah. I don't need a cameo from Russell Wilson. I can't even think of a reason why I'd want one.
I don't understand why people would want a cameo of me. But
think about this. Yeah. If you could have any athlete for $333, there are guys out there that I'd pay $333 to send a happy birthday to my kid or something. Yeah.
Yeah, so my first thought is that doesn't seem that expensive.
No, I agree.
Super Bowl champion,
Hey, we got discounts on Russell Wilson cameos.
Yes.
Is this on the clearance rack cameo?
We have a friend who's a huge Dallas Cowboy fan, even though he grew up in New York. And he's so obnoxious. So for his birthday one year, we all chipped in. I forget what it was. It was expensive. We got Lawrence Taylor to do a cameo and just MF them all. It was hysterical.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so I wouldn't necessarily pay that much myself, but if you get a bunch of buddies together and throw 10 guys, throw $30 each in on it, not too bad. I'd do it.
I think this is a bargain. This is a cameo bargain.
Yeah.
All right, there it is. That concludes the Wide 9 Omaha 4 down around the league blitz thingy.